You were classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence for possession of methamphetamines and vehicular homicide. Your parole eligibility date was January 19th of this year. You have an adjusted good time date, which is October 6, 2023, and you have a full term date, January 19, 2037. Does that information sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed that you've earned 465 days of good time, but I also see you've lost a considerable amount of good time.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I want to talk about that first. So in August of 2019, you lost 45 days. Do you remember why?
Yes, ma'am. I lost a bunch of time over phones and pictures all at one time. All I can tell you is that was a very bad part of the beginning of my sentence. It was very bad on me. I've had to forgive myself for what happened and what I caused somebody else. And I took it very hard on myself. I have my whole time that I've been down pretty much until about a year ago. So I own everything I did. I did it, and that's just where I'm at with it.
So how long have you been in jail?
Going on 6 years, a little over 6 years.
And where you are you in work now?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 jobs.
Where do you work?
I work at CC's Coffee House. I'm a shift lead, and I'm a hostess at Delta Biscuit. It's a new restaurant in Monroe.
So when you before you came to jail, were you employed?
No, ma'am, not really.
What were you doing?
Everything I shouldn't have been.
Drugs, alcohol?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a child?
Yes, ma'am.
Daughter or son?
My daughter.
How old is your daughter?
She's 14 now. She's about to be 14. She was 8 when I left.
And whose care is she under now?
My mother.
Do you have a relationship with your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. We're very close.
So at the time of the accident, were you on probation at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were, but you were also out on bond for new drug charges.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is your drug of choice?
No, at the time, it was pretty much anything. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Have you ever been seen by mental health?
No, ma'am.
So how old were you when you first started using drugs or alcohol?
It was like 25, 26. It was late.
So how'd you get started on all that?
I just had, I had a lot of trauma, I guess you could say. And that's what led to it.
What'd you start with?
Pills.
What kind?
Roxy's.
So you bought them off the street, or you had a prescription, or?
No, it was just people I ran with, people I knew.
So since you've been in jail for almost 6 years, what have you done to address your addiction? Any treatment?
I've taken the DOC classes that was offered for me to take. My parents paid for me to take 4 other classes that I have the certificate to. I took cognitive awareness, driving under the influence, offender responsibility, and offender corrections that my mom paid for.
And I see you have Living in Balance 1 and 2 in 2019. You did the 100-hour pre-release in 2019. 2018, Risk Management 1 and 2, Parenting in 2018. So out of all those programs, which one was the most meaningful?
Probably Risk Management phase 1 and 2.
And so tell us why. Why do you find that to be the most meaningful?
Because I feel like it taught me what I needed. It helped me realize what I was doing, why I was doing what I was doing. All the things that was just making me numb myself. All the risk factors that I learned to go with that. That's basically what I got.
So, what plan have you developed to maintain sobriety whenever you're released, whenever that might be?
So I have a really good support system where I'm at. I'm really stable in my jobs. I'm gonna stay here. The owner of CC's and Delta Biscuit is Joe Holyfield. He owns a lot of stuff in Monroe. I'm gonna get my real estate license. That's my plan for whenever I do get out. To stay here, keep both my jobs, and work like I'm working, and get my license.
You didn't mention a sobriety plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to like meetings and stuff, but I just don't really, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't really think about stuff like that. You know, I've been in work release and I've been around everything and I've just said no. I'm over that point in my life. I feel like I'm in a very good place and I just don't, when I think about the pain I cause from things like that, I just don't want to do that anymore.
When's the last time you had a positive drug screen?
It was over a year ago when I lost my dad. I did have a positive drug screen.
What was the substance?
I believe it was Suboxone.
You believe it? Or
Yes,
was it
ma'am.
Suboxone?
Yes, ma'am.
That's disappointing that it's just been a year ago. And since then, you say you have no desire for any of that. Now, I know you're exposed to it. So for just the last year, you've been able to avoid it.
It's been about 15 months. Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any other questions. Mr. Roche has a question.
Ms. Martinez, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell me about the 30X. What was that about? And I see where you had a 30X on August of 19 and another one in August of 19. What was that about?
It was a what? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
A disciplinary write-up for 30X.
Okay, so whenever I was in Cottonport, we had phones and someone took pictures and we got in trouble for that.
And what was the picture of?
Sir?
What was the picture of?
Oh, it was just a picture of me and this girl, Maddie.
And that's why you got your 21C also?
Yes, sir.
And of course, the contraband was the dirty drug screen, right? In 2021.
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Let me just advise you, you do have serious opposition to an early release. Your sentencing judge is in opposition. The prosecutor is in opposition. The law enforcement is opposed. And of course, we'll hear from a representative from the victim's family shortly. Tell us why you think we should grant you release early.
I just think I'm ready, but I've made peace with it. I understand that I've hurt a lot of people and, you know, I'm okay where I'm at right now. I'm okay with my jobs, sending my child money and doing what I can from here. So, yes, I would like early release, but I made peace with it and it's fine. And I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing until I can get out. The most
Are there-
important thing to me right now is my child and getting home to her and making sure that she's okay. So I'm doing all I can from where I'm at, but I know she needs me, and you know, it's not that far away either way. So I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing.
Okay. We'd like to hear from the folks who are here. First of all, your mother. We'd like to hear from Ms. Robin Martinez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's been a long journey for us. You know, I'm in the position of the victims. We lost a 17-year-old to impaired driving. So I'm no stranger to how they feel. And I can honestly look them in the face and say, it'll never be resolved. But, you know, that being said, life goes on. And, you know, you have to make peace wherever you can, however you can. And that's what I tend to do. My daughter has matured a lot, but, you know, I want to be very clear. My daughter was a good daughter. She is my oldest child. She was very responsible. She was cheer. She was spirit of her school, homecoming court. She had a life. And she got pregnant at 21. And her alternative by the other family was abort it or we'll fight you, which led to her self-medicating, which when the father of the child decided, got a new girlfriend, which the victims probably know because she's been in contact with them and egged a lot of things on. Rachel was in and out of court, and we spent thousands and thousands of dollars. That child was bounced back and forth. And when the father was released from shooting someone, when he was bought out of it, he came for Rachel and the baby, and he won for a while. I just recently went to Zoom court with Rachel a year ago. She had missed over 28 days of school and 42 tardies. And between me and Rachel and the family court judge, Mackenzie was awarded to be here at the home with me. She is an honor roll student. They are very close. Rachel continually tells her the truth, unlike the other family who mask everything that they've done. That being said, she has a lot to look forward to in coming home. Obviously, she will go to the cemetery where her father was laid to rest. She missed all of that due to the pandemic. Rachel and her father were extremely close. She's named after him. But I continue to be proud. She took all of her classes. Yes, she had some mess ups. There's a lot of pain. When your child, when you don't know where she is and who has her, when your father dies and you can't make peace with it. She never used drugs in school. She never did alcohol. She never was past her curfews. She started with Adderall, actually. And then she would try to come down because she was using too much Adderall. And her fiance, who little did we know, looked like he was an excellent man, but had a drug past problem, and he exposed her to more. And it just snowballed from there. And, you know, on that horrible turn of events, Rachel had just had her child taken yet again. So, you know, it doesn't excuse it. My daughter took a ride with someone and she never came home. You know, I hate drugs. I encourage my daughter to continue to have the help she needs, but in this last year, she is really shining. Her daughter needed braces. She's been making those payments faithfully. I do believe her when she says, and you know, that staying in jail will be okay with her if she has to. She'll continue. She sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, she will be coming home. But I will say, we kept private her situation as far as school and friends go with her mom and her dad, Mackenzie's mom and dad. Last week, the woman I was speaking of, that the victim's family knows, had a 7th-grade-year-old boy send text messages to my granddaughter and exposed her out at a football game. It was devastating for my 14-year-old or near 14-year-old granddaughter, who is the sweetest child on earth. She
Yes, ma'am.
prayed.
Ms. Martinez, wrap it up for us. Out of time.
Okay. I'm just saying that obviously it's an ongoing, Rachel will need to continue to have some help in her life, and, I love my daughter. She was not a screw up her entire life. She got with the wrong family and I'm still paying for that. So, whatever y'all decide, I'm proud of her. She's owned what she did. I would have never we didn't try to fight real hard because I told her the family needed justice. And the only way that can happen is for her to atone for her sins. So, again, we're heartily sorry for what they've been through. We know it firsthand. Rachel knows it firsthand. So, this isn't about her not taking ownership. We will
Yes,
continue.
ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. We appreciate your, thank you so
Thank you.
much. We'll hear from the victim's family now, and I believe it's Ms. Briscoe who has indicated she wants to speak. Ms. Briscoe?
Yes.
Go ahead now.
I'm mentally and financially and emotionally messed up, and I will be, because I was incarcerated when my dad died. I've changed my life since then, and he's my biggest inspiration. But nothing will bring him back, and I understand that. I don't understand it, and I probably won't ever understand it. That's all I got.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for your courage in speaking with us this morning. So let me ask the staff there at Washita, is there any input that y'all can give us on Ms. Martinez?
No, ma'am. She's in our work release program for a long time, and speaking with the work release director here, Miss Sergeant May, she had nothing negative, no incidents in the last over a year, and she has been one of her better workers.
Great, thank you. Rachel, is there something you'd like to say to us before we go?
Not particularly y'all. I just want to relate again to let y'all know that I'm very, very sorry for the pain I've caused y'all. And it's not ever going to go away. It does get easier. It's never going to go away though. But I just want y'all to know that I'm very sorry. And I pray for y'all every single night before I go to sleep. And I just want y'all to know that.
Thank you. All right, I think we are prepared to vote. Rachel, I'll be voting first. I can hear the sincerity in your remorse. I know you're sincere about it. I am concerned about, I do know you and your mother both explained some of the trauma that you've experienced. So I understand your poor conduct record since you've been incarcerated is just trying to deal with your situation. I get that. I'm happy to hear you say that you're okay with where you're at. You're working 2 jobs. I was pleased to hear that your plan would be to stay in that area. That's a good plan. However, today, based on the opposition that's been expressed, the poor conduct record's just been a little over a year since you had a write-up. My vote today is going to be to deny the parole. You have a good time date coming up. It's not so far away.
Yes.
And you seem to be doing well. My vote is to deny. I would recommend that you seek out if there's any victim awareness classes that might be available to you. I'm not sure if they are or not, but I would recommend it if you can. Mr. Roshan.
Madam Chairman, my vote is the same for the same reason.
Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, young lady, my vote would be the same for the same reasons. I just want to encourage you also to take parenting classes. And to the victim's family, I just really appreciate your courage. And I enjoyed reading that one of the victim's son got a scholarship to college and really going on and doing well. That was very good to read. Best wishes to you, David. So you just not today. You were denied, but not that you're not getting out, but you're just not getting out today. Best wishes to you. Good luck to
Is anyone else watching this just completely disgusted by what they just saw? I mean, just disgusted. I think it was first by listening to her mother's talk. It was, in the short amount of time that they gave her, which was far too much time, she somehow made this entire hearing about herself. Me, me, me. Starting with, I know what it feels like. You just have to get on and move on with it. She says that she then brings up that somehow someone in the victim's family, 7th grader, sent a text message to her about her granddaughter's mother being in prison at a football game, and oh, poor is me. Oh, my daughter got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and I'm still paying for that. She actually had the audacity, the cluelessness to say that my daughter went and took a ride and never came back. Are you kidding me? Your daughter got in the car intoxicated and took their father's life. Not the other way around, it's unbelievable. The apple does not fall far from the tree. That was just disgusting. She even said at the end of the hearing, we are partially sorry. Who says they are partially sorry? What? There's just people that they just have serious issues.
Get expert information from local professionals.
And are still investigating. Debris in the road from a different crash in Livingston Parish. It's where 43-year-old Jason Zachary died on 64 near Highway 1028 in Denham Springs. State troopers say the driver, Raychenl Martinez, crossed the center line, entering oncoming traffic, hitting Zachary on his motorcycle. Martinez was taken to jail after she was released from the hospital and faces.
And can you imagine? You're just on. And I've been hit in a head-on collision on a motorcycle. I've been in 2 motorcycle accidents, but none by an intoxicated driver. And I walked away from both of them. And it's just always terrifying because you don't know who's going to be on the road. But then to have someone and to find out that she was on probation. And her mother says she went for a ride and never came back. And it goes on, and we'll uncover some more things. That she has been in trouble for a long time, including being accused or implicated in hiring a hit on people, which Richard found this information. And you may have seen this case. I did this over a year ago, but finding new information, I thought I would do it again. So she was on a 5-year suspended sentence and placed on probation until 2018. And of course, she did that. That's because a suspended sentence really helps. She was arrested on possession of methamphetamine. She was formally charged in the case in August and is motioned for hearing February 16th. Well, and then to find out too that she's if you were curious about her write-ups, let me show you. This is the handbook for the write-ups. So she had 2 write-ups. She had her 21C, which if you just want to take a gander as to what that was, 21 is a sex offense, aggravated Schedule B, non-consensual, consensual, but 21C is sexual misconduct, contact or attempted contact between this is, so the pictures that they found, the 21C, I think it was full on. So basically they had a phone because it was a 30X. Now, what's interesting is we have 30 here, which is general prohibited behaviors, the following behaviors which may impair, threaten you, bullying guests of facilities. I don't know if I just couldn't hear Mr. O'Shea if he wasn't saying X, if he was saying something else. But I'm guessing it was one of these. But yeah, I mean, you know, she's up in prison and I guess taking photos of themselves of a sexual nature. And then she tests positive for a drug just a year before her hearing. And she has the cluelessness or even audacity to tell the board, I don't need to have any type of plan for when I get out of prison. I mean, what's the big deal? I don't even think about drugs anymore. And it's like, you just had a write-up. You just had a write-up. You're locked up. You're locked up because you took his life driving the car intoxicated. You get to work 2 jobs on work release, have your enabling mother come here and basically make it all about her. You have a write-up for drugs while on work release, and you just go on with your merry old day. And she's, you know, her good time date was coming up, and it happened on 10/6/23. So she is out. We don't see her as being back. But let me talk about the other trouble that she's in, right? So, well, not in, but what she was implicated in. This is an appeal. You know, Richard pointed this out. And she was implicated in hiring a hit on the defendant in this case. She's such a good girl, right? She's just caught up in the wrong crowd. You know, it's basically an interesting case. So the 2 people arrived at the residence 10:30 p.m., entered a camper. Both the defendant and the victim were drinking beer. The 3 men talked. Drake gave the defendant 3 muscle relaxers. Shortly thereafter, the defendant requested he and the victim leave. The 2 walked out the defendant's truck. Per the defendant's request, the victim proceeded to back the defendant's vehicle at a driveway. Almost immediately thereafter, Drake heard what sounded like a vehicle peeling out. His mother, Peggy, who lived in the trailer next to his camper, exited and told Drake that she heard gunshots. According to Peggy, Drake's visitors were at the camper approximately 15 minutes before the truck. So they went to check on the truck. And that's when they found the defendant saw the victim was in the driver's seat, had a gunshot wound to his head. So then when you go and search for our poor little innocent victim, Martinez, so then you see here that dispatch advised the subject was directly across from the scene prior to the defendant's call 911. Approximately 11:24 p.m., the defendant's girlfriend, Kristen Loop, contacted 911 and reported the defendant was lost in the woods. She further advised that Raychenl Martinez, the defendant's ex-girlfriend, had taken out a hit on the defendant. Shortly thereafter, the defendant, who was still on the telephone with the 911 operator, remember this is just alleged, right? I mean, she wasn't, that we know, convicted on this. So, but this took place, this entire thing took place. The appeal ended in 2017. And it took place in 2013. Which was just, I guess, 5 years before the vehicular homicide. The defendant's ex-girlfriend, okay. Now, when operator emerged from across the street from the shooting, the defendant was wearing only shorts and was wet. There was no appearance of any bruising on the defendant, and he did not indicate that anyone had hit him. Law enforcement personnel did not observe any unusual behavior associated with use of synthetic marijuana while interacting with the defendant. After being advised of his rights, the defendant stated that his girlfriend had put a hit on him, and he knew who was supposed to do the hit. The defendant did not name the individual who allegedly hired to homicide him. The defendant then advised that he did not want to answer any questions and just wanted to be arrested. Defendant's clothing, 2 gun magazines, and a hand grip were located near the scene of the shooting. The defendant never recovered. So what he claimed that he stopped and contacted his girlfriend so he could talk to someone who loved him and cared about him. The defendant explained that although he told law enforcement his girlfriend had a hit on him, it was actually his ex-girlfriend, Martinez. According to the defendant, 1 or 2 days prior to the shooting, his 5-year-old daughter with Martinez told him that Mama was going to hire someone to hurt Daddy. At the conclusion of the directory testimony, the defendant admitted that he was convicted of domestic abuse battery of Martinez in 2008. On cross-examination, the state pointed out that the night of the shooting, the defendant called the victim 8 times and had also contacted the victim multiple times earlier this month, including Sunday at the pawn shop. The defendant claimed that he was exempt from the victim's alleged bad behavior because he was the victim's boss. The state also, I don't, it just goes, I guess I'm just sharing this. It just, it's, what was the conclusion? I don't know, but it just shows she's been in quite a lot of trouble and alleged for hiring a hit. And she's just a doll, but she's out, and hopefully she stays out for the sake of her and her child and everyone else on the road. But it's you get an intoxication right up, and you have people enabling you around you saying it's not your fault. It's hard to see things going well. Call me skeptical. But if we see her again, we'll show it. And with that, I'll let you go.